So, hello everyone. I am happy to welcome you to our MS session today. My name is Artem, aka Karen, and I'm a co-founder of AMB, and I am happy to welcome our guests Fabian and John from KYVE. Hi guys, how are you? How is it going?
Hey man, thanks for having us. We're great. It's awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Could you please introduce yourself? Who is the team behind KYVE? Where are you from, guys?
Sure. So I'm Fabian. I am one of the two co-founders together with John of KYVE. We both created KYVE a year and a half ago. From now, it was February, I think, 2021. I'm located in Germany. John now is too, but he would say something to that probably later. I'm a software engineer. Was working in the crypto space since mid 2020, especially in the Arweave ecosystem. I had a project there called Verified, which was like an on-chain verification system. And then from there, just met John on the Arweave Discord. We worked together on some projects, and then really tumbled into creating KYVE. It was nothing we planned or no vision we executed. It was really just a bounty first, and then everything got much bigger from that on. But I will let John introduce himself first, and then get back to the KYVE story.
Of course. So, hey everyone, I'm John. Nice to meet everyone. Like Fabian said, got started in the Arweave ecosystem around the same time as well in summer of 2020. Worked on actually quite a few projects in the Arweave ecosystem as a whole, but most the Verdo Exchange, which is the first ever decentralized trading on Arweave. So helped the team there launch that. Of course, met Fabian through his Verify project, and then of course worked on different side projects and weekend projects as well with him. And then of course in February helped launch KYVE.
Amazing. Thanks, Arthur. Please explain to us what the KYVE project about. What were your inspiration for creating this project?
Yeah, so KYVE started out as a simple data archiving solution on top of Arweave. So it was a grant or bounty first for bridging data from Polkadot over to Arweave, and this is what John and I worked on. And then we very quickly realized that actually we can start to like collect data from other chains as well, because we choose quite a generic approach to that, and then basically started building a fully decentralized data lake. And this is what KYVE is all about right now, basically getting data from different data sources, different chains, all stored onto Arweave, and then basically from there on allow the developer to have very easy access to that. Because as all developers listening to that know, it's crazy hard getting like access to chain data, and then basically everything that's happening on chain. That's trying what we are trying to solve for with KYVE.
Yeah, good. Tell us about your team. How did you acquire professionals?
For sure. Our team is that's a very fun story. We are very organic, I would say. So it started out, as I said, me and John meeting just on Discord, and then Fizila was the first addition. She's now a COO, and came to the team. And that's actually quite a cool story. Just through like some contacts we had, she reached out, we worked together. Actually, because of COVID and everything of last year, I haven't met John in person since September last year. So only like 8 months now, John, I would say, roughly know each other in person. And so this was that. And then at ECC, which is happening, I think, next week in Paris, was the first time I met Zila. I hadn't met John in person. And then from there, it slowly got bigger. We got Paul and Julian on the team. And so on, it was mostly actually contacts we had, friends of us we worked with before, just kind of like getting a team of like people we could really kind of like trust in and know that would be passionate about everything. That's still like they have like hiring, recruiting process we have going on today. Just like our latest team was Ruslan, who was a community member and wrote some scripts around KYVE, so he had extensive knowledge already. Now got him into the team as a core member.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing. It's really cool that you can meet such cool people online. Online, I know Ruslan from KYVE chat. Yeah. Okay, we move on to interesting technical question. Okay. Can you tell us more about the last protocol update you did?
Of course, yeah, no. So we did like a minor protocol upgrade of the 0.5.3, but like the main exciting one actually is the 0.5.0 upgrade we did. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I guess the most exciting feature that we actually did there is obviously you guys are probably familiar. We're a Cosmos SDK layer 1, and the Cosmos SDK, what it's great at is actually providing you with a lot of features that you need in a layer 1 blockchain that you don't want to have to build out yourself, and that's namely governance, right? So governance we had actually just imported as a module and then just taken that, like using the built-in one. But actually in the latest upgrade, we actually then in turn modified that slightly to better fit our network. We changed a few things, most notably the one that I'm most excited about is that previously only stakers and delegators on the chain side could actually vote and participate in governance. Versus now, after the upgrade, also people in the protocol as well can now also vote as well, which is super fascinating. As also our community noticed as well, we also introduced something called expedited proposals and custom voting periods as well, which then just allows us to have even more fine-tuned control, as well as the community more fine-tuned control over different voting periods. So that's the last protocol upgrade we did.
Okay. It's amazing. How many validators do you think it's optimal for each pool?
This is actually an interesting thing. It actually kind of comes down to like the ultimate trade-off in crypto as a whole. So actually very similar to Tendermint and the Cosmos SDK, if people aren't familiar with, the more nodes you get, actually the slower consensus takes. And actually a very similar thing here in the KYVE protocol is actually the more nodes we would have, although that would be even more decentralized, it would actually take a lot longer to then finalize data. And so we've, like settled on 50 for now, but of course this is also something that we might in turn then change later on, maybe in mainnet. We just have to, kind of play around with those numbers. But for now, I don't actually know if there is like an optimal one. I think like the crucial bit is to keep as much decentralization as possible, but also maintain security. And so like a very important thing for us as well is like stake in a pool as well as delegation in a pool.
Thanks for answer. Okay, name true reason why builders should be use KYVE.
That is an awesome question. Especially I would say for developers, it's data is reliable. That's one big reason. Like, you don't have to worry about like once data is uploaded to stuff KYVE, it's there. It's also trustless, meaning you don't have to basically trust any endpoint, any API. You can query from there, it's validated, and that's it. And the third reason I would say it's super easy. We have this warp product we are rolling out right now. You can find it in the documentation under docs, getting started accessing data. I think which is just GraphQL access for all the data we've uploaded. You can query multiple blockchains at the same time, and it's just super convenient, super easy to use.
Okay, thanks a lot. The data are stored at KYVE on Arweave right now, but how can we query the data?
Yeah, so actually there are two main ways so you can query the data. So what we do with KYVE, right, is like we take a bunch of data points, then we compress them and store them on Arweave, and then we tag the Arweave transaction. So if you would be interested in just downloading all the data and you want to do like analysis and stuff on your own, you can really just query the chain, go to Arweave and just download all of those Arweave IDs and you have the raw data. But because it's very tedious and might not fit everyone's use case, we have built this exact use case called Warp, which basically does exactly this for you automatically. And then it's just a normal GraphQL endpoint where you can just query all the data. And it's getting just rich and rich of data every time. We just add some pool, or the pools are like uploading new data and so on. And I think we're close to catching up with live data on some other pools as well, which is just super exciting.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Next question. And what can be stored at KYVE?
So actually, we built KYVE in such a way that you can actually store anything you want on KYVE. The one caveat, though, of course, is that if you only care about your data being stored permanently, say, for example, like the best example I always like to give is like family photos, right? it's like we would never recommend you permanently storing family photos through KYVE, right? Because KYVE, to incentivize our network properly and all the nodes in our network, it costs more than just storing it directly on Arweave, right? And that's the validity bit. So technically, you can write a custom integration for any kind of data you want, assuming that you can, of course, validate that data. But it's really just a question of, do you really need that data to be validated, instead of just permanently storing it yourself on places like Arweave? So that's what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the main KYVE use case. What can we build with the data?
I mean, to be fair, we're still finding out all the use cases. So like the cool thing is that we're collecting all this data from all these different layer 1s and layer 2s. I mean, you can look at our website. We have pretty much every single major network out there integrated with our protocol. And the cool thing is, like Fabian mentioned, providing easy access tooling to then be able to query that data. But the thing is, like, we're still finding use cases. So like it affects anybody from the blockchain foundations themselves, making it easier for them to, access data on the blockchain. Validators, it's super important for them if they want to prune their nodes and instead just fall back on validated secured data. Helps out dApps as well as indexers as well. I mean, plus there's many other use cases that we haven't even found out yet.
Okay, thanks for answer. Will there be any programs or applications developed specifically for the project?
I would say yes. We have, I mean, basically we like the incentivized testnet, which is out right now, right? It's all pretty much targeted like to developers, like incentivize them building things on top of KYVE. And I think that's something we for sure want to keep up and kind of want to continue growing. We will for sure roll out a bug bounty program the more we get closer to mainnet, and things like that, just to be sure that like developers are still using and are always incentivized building on top of KYVE. And then of course the next big step really also for us as a team is like ecosystem growth, right? Like making it easy for developers to build with and around KYVE, growing all sides of it. You can really imagine that's like the big next tasks we have on our plates.
Yeah, amazing. Also, we published Google form for questions, and for the best AMA questions, participants will achieve points in a incentivized testnet. Yeah, amazing. We will hold hackathons or a grant program and when?
Yes, so I can ensure that we will have like hackathons and grant programs. I know this is something we are just setting up, so I don't actually know any date when this will start. It will be soonish for sure, basically after the incentivized testnet is ending. And then we will like start working on like bug bounties, grants, and so on, because it's something we're actively developing. But unfortunately, I cannot commit on the date. As soon as we have one, we will of course announce it publicly.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, interesting question. How are we going to choose validators set for KYVE chain mainnet? And do you think to support chain validators at the beginning?
Okay, I'm going to take this question because actually I've been thinking a lot about this recently with a few other members of the team. So we're actually coming up with the criteria exactly for what Genesis validators on the chain will look like. And so, of course, don't have a lot of details, but of course, once we do, of course, have details on those, we're going to make those more public. Of course, super cool to see all the great, chain node runners in the incentivized testnet as well. And so we're going to be reaching out to a few of those people as well. And to answer the second part of the question, like supporting the chain validators, absolutely. We're thinking a lot right now about like the foundation's delegation strategy. Of course, don't have any details on that, but of course, once we do have more details on that, we're going to make all that information very public and open to the community. And yeah, so happy to share more about that later.
Okay, sounds good. Is there any mechanism to prevent a situation when one group made coordinated attack and saves majority of validators in some pool, and then validate and upload incorrect data?
Yes. So, I mean, basically what you're describing right here is the general proof of stake attack, which is just the simple 51%. That's basically where a bad actor in the ecosystem will gain control over a specific storage pool. Unfortunately, this like if it does happen, say for example, what we can do is the chain governance can actually step in, and we've introduced a feature, or are introducing a feature, where basically you can reset like the height of the pool. So say for example, there was data incorrectly uploaded for a few blocks, then basically what we can do is just in the chain governance, we can very quickly then go back, reset the pool height to the correctly validated data, and then revalidate the blocks correctly. But of course, like what's super important for us, and this is also going to be going live in the next update, is making sure that this can't happen. And one of the ways of doing that is basically having a security factor of how much tokens are actually locked in stake in delegation in a pool to prevent a 51% attack happening. And if it goes below a certain number, it'll basically just pause the pool automatically, because the pool will be insecure at that point. So that's all stuff we're thinking about in preparation for mainnet.
Yeah, thanks a lot for answer. Okay, will be there some SDK or standard service for easy making new pools for new blockchains?
So,
guys,
your standard service. So there is an SDK that actually our latest hire, Ruslan, from the community is working on right now to make it extremely easy for interacting with our chain and with our pools. But regarding making it easier to create pools for different blockchains, we're thinking about a few different things. So we're revamping our docs at the moment. I think that is actually live, Fabian, where basically we have this integration template, which basically has like to-do comments, where basically you can just go in and say, yeah, use your blockchain's SDK, your JavaScript SDK, to kind of connect to the chain and fetch down information from the chain. And then you can fetch blocks and transactions and stuff like that. And then it's basically just a guide that walks you through exactly how to archive blocks from your blockchain, for example.
Exactly. Maybe adding to that, it's already quite easy to write your own integration once you understand how the process of KYVE works. It's something John and I always wanted to make as easy as possible. So basically what you have to do is you only have to override a single or two functions. John's correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's two functions right now. Basically, the developer has to write themselves, and everything else is completely handled by our SDK or our core nodes. So we have two things. One is the core, which is the nodes and the way nodes interact. And then we have the SDK, and then the SDK is more like code access to the blockchain, so to say. So usually you would use the core for that, but as John said, we have an adding data guide in our docs, where you can just see how it's quite easy to write your own integration. And if anyone here has any ideas for writing integration, also doesn't maybe know how to execute them, always feel free to just reach out to us on Discord or somewhere else, and we're happy to find some time with you, sit down, either tell you how you would build an integration, or maybe we even can build the integration for you if you would have the resources on that. So that's just what fuels us, right?
Yeah, very cool idea. Thanks for the answer, guys. Okay, will there service to make a pool not just for whole blockchain, but only for some types of information or transactions, to upload only info about some NFT service, for example?
Yep, that is actually out there and already works, because that's the way how Arweave is built. We just right now basically just only build the use case of archive in a blockchain, but it would be no difference if we would just want to archive a smart contract or events of a smart contract with Uniswap, for example. So you could just scroll for all Uniswap trades and stuff like that. It's maybe something we should follow up with a write-up tutorial, just to free up the mind a bit, to saying, well, look, we can do much more than blockchains, but it's already possible. You can already store whatever you want.
Yep, it's amazing. So could KYVE extract and upload data not from L1 blockchains, but from side chains like layer 2 solution, Optimus or Bitum, etc.?
Absolutely. So the cool thing is we actually already support Optimism and Arbitrum, because those are actually EVM-based chains. And so because we basically just built out a simple integration for just any EVM-compatible chain, that will support anything from Ethereum mainnet to Polygon to Optimism to Aurora to even Evmos, right? So basically, once you have that base integration done, you can support any layer 1 or layer 2. But to be completely fair, like going off of what Fabian just answered, KYVE is super easy to just extend, and you could then just like fork one of our already existing integrations or just write your own if you wanted to support a new blockchain. Or to be fair, any deterministic data set, because actually in the latest upgrade, we kind of switched away from just blockchain mentality to then just any deterministic data set. So.
And actually also adding to that, a cool feature we also rolled out, which I don't think we have announced, John, thinking about it, is basically that now you can also store like bits of information actually on chain, and then later on, it's like something for the future, we will even be able to transfer this data via IBC to other chains. So like one idea why we implemented this was basically you could build a price oracle, right, that would store like pricing information. And then basically you could via IBC just always being able from another Cosmos-based chain to access the latest price of something, or like some NFT metadata you want to update, and so on and so on. So like we really build in a lot of flexibility for that.
Yeah, amazing. Is KYVE even compatible with DAG architectures as IOTA, Hedera, etc.?
So I've actually never heard I've heard of IOTA and Hedera, but like I've actually never completely looked into their architecture. So I'm not entirely too sure if we are, but what I can tell you though is like we are Tendermint compatible, because that is our consensus layer when we do use the Cosmos SDK. Yeah, but happy to like if like somebody wants to reach out and like follow up on that question, happy to do some more research and then answer that later on once I have a better understanding of it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. Now there will be interesting questions from the community. Okay, the first question: how do you plan to increase the audience of the KYVE? Do you already have any program?
Yeah, I actually would say that the incentivized testnet was a program exactly kind of for that, just getting KYVE to like a broader audience, more broad crypto audience, right? And basically doing that, and I think that's like some of those programs we will for sure continue, as I said, with like a grant program, bug bounty program, and so on. Just kind of like really, but that's very important, tying ourselves into like a community of builders and developers. But absolutely, that's for sure something coming up over the next month, especially because we're like slowly approaching mainnet launch. And so, yeah, for sure we'll do that.
Yeah, good. Thanks a lot. Okay, next question for me as a co-founder of AMB. The question is also interesting. Do you plan to increase the numbers of your ambassadors? When will you open the ambassador programs?
That is a question I do get a lot. And it's honestly, unfortunately, he's not here, but Paul is the best person to answer on that, as he's so Paul is our community manager, and he's owning all of the ambassador questions. So unfortunately, I actually don't know what the plans are on that side. Feel free, guys, if you have that question, reach out to Paul, and he will tell you all the information you will need about that.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, can you talk about the decentralized testnet Corellia? Do you have benefits from it or something?
Yeah, 100%. We got I don't think I can list all the benefits we got from running the incentivized testnet, from load testing we did in those 2 hours. So we like maxed out a chain, to like traffic we got on all of our servers, being able to hardening them, being able to sustain with the traffic. You can just imagine the first few days of incentivized testing was quite rough. Our infrastructure was going down a lot, and like this never happened in the next weeks, right? So it really gave us a good feeling also for us, and more confident, right, in the code we wrote and everything, to just like do that. And of course, from a user experience perspective, we are doing a lot of work into that, optimizing that now with like having a lot of users being also able, of course, to like derive new strategies in terms of UX. How can we improve staking? How can we improve validation? I think that's something we saw while like the incentivized testing was paused. We took a step back and thought, well, how do people actually like stake into delegate into a validator? There we go. And I think we came up with this new model where it's easier to do delegations and so on. That's for sure benefits we get with that.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot. I believe you will success. We're waiting for ours from the testnet. Okay, what events should we expect in the next few months in the real life or online?
Great question. So in real life, I can tell you that we will all be at ETH Paris, nearly the whole team will be at ETHCC Paris, which is around, John, correct me if I'm wrong, 17th of July-ish time,
Yeah, it's like
something
that.
around that, in 2 weeks exactly. We will all be there. We have some side events going on. We have something happening at the conference. So if you guys are there, feel free to approach us. I'm always happy to have a chat. And then something that sorry, John.
We'll also be at the Nebular Conference. That's the same week, or the Nebular Summit. It's like the small Cosmos get-together on that Friday. So yeah, happy to see you guys there as well.
Perfect, exactly. And then also in real life, we will most likely be for NearCon in Lisbon, which is September, mid-September time, I think. That's something where John and I will be. And then online, I would say we have like the more community calls. AMAs is something we just usually do on the spot or either like have it announced, so that we'll always be around. We have a demo day coming up because we have some updates coming for sure. So like the usual things I would say you used from us, we keep online. There's something special happening, and then we have like the 2 conference, ETH Paris and NearCon, which are confirmed from our side, where some people of the team or the whole team will be there.
Yeah. Okay. I also will be in Paris. Yeah, me too, guys. Okay, next question that is of interest to many members of the community, of KYVE community. Are you planning a public token sale in the future?
That's also a good question. That's also something we are unsure of yet, to be completely transparent with you. We have considerations doing it. We have some other, mostly due to like, I mean, of course, like legal and like regulatory things. It's quite hard to do like a public sale independently. So there's still like options we're evaluating out right now, but it's just something we will, of course, like also get back to the community as soon as we have any confirmed things there. But I just want to repeat myself, like we also team internally like, completely openly haven't decided on doing it or not doing it yet.
Okay. We're waiting. Now let's move on to questions about partners, future development, and plans. First question, how did you manage to get near support in your project? What benefits do you see for your projects from the fact that you have received support from the near protocol?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Fabian, you got in touch with the near protocol. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, like right when we first launched, all the protocols were reaching out to us because they obviously saw a need, each like with their own use cases, although like just a general need for, you know, validated decentralized data access. And so, yeah, so like, I wouldn't say that there's like an exact like way that we got near to support us. It was just that like really we're solving a issue for them. And yeah, that's just like.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, maybe a question for Fabian. What is the KYVE business model?
Well, the KYVE business model is actually, when you boil it down to its core, it's quite simple. It's basically that we want to be a truly decentralized network. Like that's our main goal, even with the team, right? So we design everything to fully work autonomously. And the way it works is quite simple. You set up the storage pool, right? And the pool requires people to upload the data from A to B, and the people want to be compensated for that, right? That's when you fund the pool. So basically, if you are a foundation, you would like to get your data archive, what you do is you purchase KYVE tokens from the open market, deposit it into a pool as funding, and then of course node runners are incentivized to run a node there because they will get some rewards. They will run a node, upload the data, and that's it. And if a pool runs out of funding, it pauses, so there's no risk involved for everyone. And then of course we have the designated protocol economics. They're quite easy with like delegation. Of course, you get the payouts and so on. But on the chain level, it's just a normal like Cosmos SDK business model where you have inflation introduced, and the more tokens are staked, basically the better it is for anyone. And so basically, then you just have your steady APYs for earning tokens, and then you just free to sell them on the market, and then people which fund the pool will buy it. And it's like, or people which want to stake it or delegate it, they will purchase this from the market, put it into the nodes, and like by this have like a recurring, reassuring system of securing the network.
Yeah, sounds good. Do you already have partners which plan to use a KYVE as a part of their product?
Yeah, I would say we have actually quite a lot. The only downside is for most of them, it requires, of course, us to be in mainnet and us to have like a real like economic security to the data. Because right now it's only like mathematical security, right? But we're a proof of stake system, so that's it. But of course, I would say any partner actually we work with. So all of the L1s, all of the L2s we work with, they're all like, of course, like heavily interested in working with us and basically having KYVE part of their ecosystem. As well as I know that we are also working right now with, for example, some like explorers and so on that are very interested in then using KYVE and using KYVE's data in their product. But as I said, mainnet is really like a big blocker for us and something we have to do first, and then we will see KYVE be used in other mainnet products, right?
Yeah. Okay, as next question, what projects do you personally find very interesting?
Actually, good question. No, so personally, I have to like explain the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm finding like quite a few projects in there interesting. And I mean, I guess if I can like say just Cosmos as a whole, like especially like the Cosmos SDK, I think what's going on there is super exciting. And personally, I think it's a little bit of a hidden gem because like a lot of the time when you enter the crypto space, like Ethereum or Bitcoin takes a lot of the spotlight. But like once you actually kind of deep dive into the tech, a lot of the decisions that Cosmos has made has been super interesting, which is like, of course, why we're so bullish on it and like why we're deployed that. Specific projects that are, yeah, I don't know, like there's like, yeah, I of course, like for me, I'm like more actually focused on like the tech whatnot. And so yeah, like for me, I'm like really interested in like seeing like what else can be built on the Cosmos SDK, as well as like permanent storage. So also like any other applications that are built on top of Arweave are super interesting for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just 100% agree to that. I think like we have quite some odyssey with KYVE being like fully Arweave based. Or some people, if you might remember, we had like an ETH phase where we were a smart contract, now our own chain. So like I would say we have kind of seen all facets of the blockchain world, and like Cosmos is really the most mature framework you will get as a developer, and that will like basically help you be just the most successful with the least effort. I don't want to say it's still like a lot of effort doing anything, but basically with the least, how to say correctly, basically what you have to do is like it gives you a lot of tooling out of the box, right? You don't have to worry about security that much. You can be a developer, you know. It's like you can be you can express yourself, you can do what you want, you can do what you love, you can like fulfill your vision without having to worry about all those little details that will like really delay your usual like working process, which is super nice.
Yeah, I would say like the barrier to entry in Cosmos is very low.
Yeah, it's very personally very interesting. Okay, we are coming to the end of our AMA session today, and the last question is very difficult and at the same time very important. This question: how do you see KYVE in 1 year and in 5 years?
Great, I love the question. Actually, so in 1 year, so first of all, like looking back 1 year is absolutely fucking insane, right? Like what happened in this year is just crazy, right? But like now looking forward a year, well, I for sure see KYVE being an absolute early stage mainnet, right? We might have launched, there might be some activity going on. I absolutely see us in the phase of like building an ecosystem, building out like developers, kind of like using KYVE. In a year, I'm pretty dead certain we will see the first applications using KYVE, right? We will have some traction there. And then in 5 years is interesting because that's like a long time span, right? But I for sure see KYVE as being like the main like go-to point for developers if they want to access data in Web3, right? I really see like KYVE with like, it sounds a bit ridiculous because basically we have decentralization problems in crypto, right? The problem is like all of the data is all over the place and you don't know where to find it, right? So I'm dead certain that like KYVE will become an Arweave as permanent storage, right? Will become the central hub, yet decentralized, right? But central hub where you just find all your data. You just go take it from there and then you do whatever you want. You can even use KYVE as like I had a very nice chat with a developer a few days back where basically his vision is, well, I want to create like a data storage system on KYVE and then being able to use this in all other like blockchains, right? Which is super cool. It's like he's completely rethinking the idea of like, well, one blockchain owns my data. No, it's actually KYVE owns my data, and then I just use the blockchain to being able to modify it, which is super, super interesting. So I think within 1 year, we will see like this very like data enriched phase where we have a lot of data. We will see it like in first proof of concepts being used, mainnet, healthy like tokenomics, healthy like listing and everything, of course. And then in 5 years, we probably see like the really crazy use cases coming up and KYVE becoming this central point for data and blockchain.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. You're awesome, Fabian and John. Glad that we were able to have an AMA session today. And I want to say that I thank you, dear viewers, for being on our AMA session. In the future, we make an excellent translation and voicing the AMA session this into Russian, so that it will be easier to understand technical part for members from the CIS region to watch. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Fabian and John.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to say the effort you put into those sessions are absolutely insane. And I'm really looking forward to seeing like the full version at the end. Thank you so much for making it possible and like enabling like our English only voice being heard by like all non-English speaking community. It's great. Thank you so much for that. Really, it's just something I can say. It's great.
Okay, see you later, guys.
Thank you. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.